Hello, everyone. Welcome to Adobe Live Education Edition. My name is Wezi Tindwa, and I'm one of the education evangelists here at Adobe. I'm really excited because today we are talking about how to level up your slides, fun, easy presentations in Adobe Express. And I am joined by my teammate, my wingman today, Anne. Hello.
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Hello, Wezi. Friends, my name is Ann Cosma. I am one of the education evangelists here on the team at Adobe, and I am so excited about this topic. We are all about leveling up presentations today, slides, making them fun, easy, and literally supercharging creativity with Adobe Express. Wesi knows this is my jam. I love a good presentation slide deck. And as we get started today, we want to say hello to everybody tuning in. Let us know in the chat, where are you watching from? Shout out your school or district or state or country. We are so glad you all are here. And
Thank
we
you
know that,
so much for joining us.
yeah.
Sorry, Anne, I was just checking the chat as you were saying that to see who is joining in. And hello to Idara. Hello to, is it Joanna? Thank you so much for joining us.
I know, Wezi, it's so awesome. I think Joanna said in Polish, so dzień dobry to our friends over in Poland, and everybody tuning in. Wezi, this one today, I'm so excited about because we know folks are using Adobe Express in so many ways, but presentations are a great way, those slide decks to share and showcase learning. But today we're talking about ideas like simple design tweaks that make a big difference, or how to transform the visuals that are in a slide deck, visual support, text-based support, how even colors and the background of something can transform or evoke a different sense of what somebody is sharing or learning. Definitely, we're talking about collaborative aspects and real-time examples that folks can try right away.
Absolutely, Anne. And from visual storytelling to organizing complex ideas to creative expression in general, something that I love talking to students about is just the consideration of your audience when you're putting together a presentation and what is the message that you are trying to receive. And so, how is that going to impact the choices that you make when you're putting together a presentation? And so, there's a lot of thinking about thinking, that metacognition and student voice and agency in there. So, we're going to have a good time in Adobe Express today using our presentation feature and leveling up the fun in learning so that students and teachers can express themselves the best they know how.
Awesome. Well, as we get going, I do see folks in the chat. I see not only Poland, but Staten Island, New York, Boston. Michael just joined from New Jersey. Hello out there, everybody. So we definitely have our eyes on the chat. Feel free to use it. And as we jump in, we're going to be talking about these favorite ways. We have three big concepts and three big ideas to go through with you. And of course, we're sharing awesome tips and insights too. So, Wes, are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's pull up my screen. I'm driving today, and we're launching inside that homepage, inside Adobe Express for Education. I know we've been sharing for the past few months. The homepage experience had a little bit of a redesign. I guess was he not even a little bit, a big redesign this summer with the
It's
create.
pretty big.
Yeah, pretty big. And folks, anytime I talk about the product, I love to just remind you, you see these great big tiles and visuals of how folks can get started, from that monthly creative challenge to guided activities, building web pages. And this right here, create a presentation. That is one easy way to get started. But Wesi, I'm a former first grade teacher, and I have to talk about the math symbol that's on the page too. You know what I love to say. Do you see that plus sign? That is how you add new content. You can start from scratch there. Also, literally get started, determine there is another entry point for that presentation. So I definitely love clicking buttons, sharing possibilities, but I want to launch from this gorgeous create a presentation tile today. All right. So this is where we're getting started. And I think this is just to help folks see literally a ton of button clicks and possibilities right now.
Ooh, I like that. Seeing possibilities with the button clicks, and it's always a great start with navigation. So folks that are newer to Adobe Express, we always encourage just go in there, treat it as your playground, and click around. And those of you that are more familiar with Express, treat it as your playground. Go in there and click around because, as you know, it is ever evolving. You might find some new hidden gems in there. Very exciting stuff for us to share with you. And so, as we are going through our topic today, we want you to explore along with us if you're able to. If you'd like to just kind of watch along, the chat, as Anne said, is wide open, and we'd love to stay connected with you in there. But let's start with our top picks. Areas of focus when it comes to presentations. And the first one is creative storytelling
Yep.
and idea organization. So,
Yeah.
Anne, what thoughts do you have about this idea of creative storytelling and idea organization and how that fits in to presentations?
Yeah. So I love this question. And you saw that I was already clicking a little bit on these filters. Of course, everything inside of Adobe Express for education is education forward, right? When I think about concepts like creative storytelling, idea organization, what I love so much about Adobe Express is students can craft like visually stunning narratives, but I love how simple it is for drag and drop features too. And I'll mention it every time. I'm a former first grade teacher, and even with the youngest students, you can scaffold or teach a workflow, but it creates projects in a simplified way. So, the drag and drop feature, or how you can leverage a template to get started. And you don't have to have all of the technical skill to build from scratch, yet
Right.
you can still craft something that tells your story or represents your learning or your demonstration of learning. So, I love the idea of turning what's in here with your brain power and getting it out in a creative way. And that looks different for everyone. And it comes out different in visual aspects. So, leveraging templates is a place to start when I think about how a presentation in Adobe Express sets people up for success.
Absolutely, Anne. And there are so many use cases for presentations. I think sometimes it's easy for us to get locked in the name of a feature and as
Um,
like that is the sole function of that feature. But when you see presentation, you can think biography, you can think science concept, you can
yeah,
think social issue, you can think telling stories. Really, it's a power tool that is there as your really
yeah.
your runway to express all of that thinking that you were talking about, Anne.
I love that. And thinking about a power tool, again, I'm just clicking deeper into this because, folks, as we get started, this first big concept, this big idea of idea organization, what we all want to do as educators is help our students like synthesize their learning and then figure out ways to share and showcase it, right? And sometimes the products they're creating or the presentations they're preparing for, like the visual support in a slide deck, Wesy, like you can customize it, tailor it to whatever outcome or
Right.
curricular area you want it to. So I've clicked deeper into this and I've clicked in like social studies, science. But what I want to do is just point out, like on the left side, you're starting to see different templates populate, right? And like here, I'm just going to click on this one as an art portfolio. And Wesy, it pops up. It's already visually stunning. You see
Mm-hmm.
there are like 4 pages that pop up. I guess I shouldn't call them pages. Like, well, they are pages. 4 different pages, 4 different slides. It's synonymous, right? That literally becomes like a click or drag and drop or plug and play scaffold for our students to represent their thinking or their knowledge, right? So that to me, the visual storytelling with impact, but organizing ideas. And sometimes I live with paper within arm's reach, right? I live with post-it notes, I live with a pad of paper, but some kids are creating with thinking maps or graphic organizers. And even that like organization of their complex ideas can even be a drag and drop with copy paste of text, right?
That's right. And I actually have a vision board right behind my desk that I see
Ah,
every day. And it's got writing and it's got sticky notes and it's got pictures and it's got downloads. And I know that sometimes it can be very challenging. You have a vision in mind. It's not quite there yet. It's half baked. But going through those templates can really help you really bring that ideation into reality. So those templates, as you use the word scaffold, they are scaffolds for students. Oftentimes, I will pull a template and my final product looks nothing like the original, but because it was so inspirational and in placement, in details, just to get a visual sense and to also be to excite me, right? You want to get
yeah,
excited about the work that you're doing, and
right.
the visuals allow you to do that. So, as we are going through just that, talking about visual storytelling with impact, organizing your complex ideas, we don't want to take for granted this exploratory phase of
Yeah,
finding templates and not in a rush too. Like I have to find the right one. Really scanning, seeing what's available, seeing what the possibilities are for you. And something that I always start students on, whether they are beginners or they're coming back to Adobe Express after a while, is just navigating this editor space. Where am I looking for what? Because once you find that fluency in the navigation, everything else starts to come so much more smoothly. I
yeah,
go to my right side for my layers. I'm going to my left side in my editing panel. I go to my far left side to add those more objects. I look at the bottom panel for my pages or my slides. I look at the top to find icons that are going to shift the whole page dynamic, like just like what you just clicked on,
yeah,
the themes color palette there, or the background color, right? They all apply to the whole template. And so just kind of having an understanding of where my tools are and where I need to go for things can really make that exploration that much more useful and helpful for me because as I'm starting to create, I'm not constantly feeling stuck for where to go, but I at least have the navigation down. I might not have my idea down yet, but I've
yeah,
got the navigation down.
yeah. So I just saw too that, you know, the idea of what you just said, understanding the workflow, right? I always
Yep.
talk to my students, it was button clicks. I would teach the button clicks. And as a teacher of young students, I used to project, or AirPlay or whatever on my board. And I had a magnetic pointer finger and I would literally move it around
Ooh.
on my screen. So students knew, click here, this is where you find this. Click here, this is where you find this. Click here. And we just did a bunch of live streams last week with students all over the US. And like what you just said, teaching the layer panel, like this and understanding this becomes so important because, well, you start to understand how every element stacks on top of each other, right? Or understanding how to go in and change the theme. Well, this completely changes everything, right? Like, font color begins to change, the visual like aesthetic of something begins to change, understanding how to go in and personalize or even shuffle something. This to me is playing to learn so that students feel comfortable and students feel confident. But guess what? All I'm doing right now is clicking undo, 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 because what
Yep.
if you do want to get back to that
Absolutely.
beginning state, right? Or what if you want to duplicate a page and make edits on the duplicate page and keep an original, go to your original version, etc. Wesy, this is getting us feeling like oriented, ready,
Yep.
and setting things up for success, right?
Oh my gosh, I love that you taught button clicks. Like that is so Fun. Folks, can you imagine Ann Cosmo being your teacher? Like how exciting it must have been for those students. But just, yes, just something as simple but yet critical as a button clicks. Like,
Um,
let's do it. Let's go in here. Let's actually test things out, right? Like that's part of the scientific method too, is like we go in and we test things. And I do want to just say a quick call out in the chat. There's like a moment of community in the chat that Joanna ask, please correct me in how I'm pronouncing your name. But just noting that even though we're in different time zones, it's like
yeah.
we're bending time when we convene in this space together. So it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
amazing that the power of the passion of creativity in education is what's uniting us today. So thank you all for joining us, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us.
I
And
love it.
Absolutely. And Joel says layers always help learn the beginning, middle, end. And with this, it helps to be creative however you want.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
love it.
And you know what? When you talked about button clicks, I always teach like what happens if it disappears? What do I do? Where does it go? How do I get it back?
Yep.
So I even would have students practice, click on the X, close it, click on the layers, launch it again. Click on the media tab over here. Notice any element you're clicking on, those are the editing options you have. So we see photos as an option, videos as an option, audio as an option. And that's just super helpful. Again, setting students up for success. It's building creative confidence, but also, Wezzy, there are so many dynamic elements, features, text, etc., that
Hmm.
could be leveraged inside of the slides. And in the next section that we're going to, we're actually going to demo it in a completely different way.
Absolutely. We are going to take a look at how those features can really support the visual impact of what it is that we are designing and that we are presenting. And so, as a quick recap here, we know that within Adobe Express, the presentations let students turn their ideas into visual stories. We went through the navigation of the home page, and as Anne said, there are multiple entry points to get to presentations. So you've got a tile right there from the home page to get to them. You've also got that plus sign,
Yep,
and you can find them right there as well. When you search for templates too, if you just kind of go into Express and you organically start to search for something,
yep.
you can isolate that search to templates and to presentations. So that is also an option for you. But then once you get in here, you've got that far left side panel where you can take a look at all of the different assets that you can apply to your presentation, including various templates. This is where you can look at features that support that visual storytelling and really start to organize those ideas by understanding where those features live.
Okay, I have to go back and click that button too, because like we're showing this again, not only to help support and empower the educators who may be using this in their classroom, but as a reinforcement and reminder that you can access presentations in different ways in product. But you just called out templates. Of course, I'm opening templates. I'm clicking buttons on the back end. And Wezzy, I love, love, love just clicking into templates as
Yeah,
like
look at that.
a source of inspiration.
Hmm.
So this is a much bigger view of all of them. And I know I've hovered over and I've clicked over the filters for a moment, but again, this is all education specific down to your subject, your output, your grade level, the size, the type, etc. So all of these are further ways to customize. Again, a simple search query, whether it's an autobiography, whether it's a science report, whether it is a book talk or a book review, or whether it's going deep in a historical era, you simply search across those templates and get started from there. You
Absolutely.
ready to create a brand
Let's
new
do
file?
it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm so excited because what we want to talk about is not only how to find and use the tools, but like the dynamic aspects of the tools. And Wesley and I have set up a collaborative presentation deck, and we want to model in real time how we as collaborators can co-create together. But of course, this is a reminder that your students could do the exact same thing. So we have created an all about meet your teachers slide deck, and this is not a complete deck. We have edited some things to front load and we'll click buttons, and we're also going to create in real time. But folks, remember, you can also assign a presentation deck as a template. Students can work individually, they can work together. Everybody can be working asynchronously or in real time. This is all about possibility right now. Wezzy, are you are you ready to jump in?
Oh my gosh, so much possibility, and I adore this deck. And you gave me a little something to look out for here. It's a little surprise, so I'm so excited.
Friends, I changed something in the deck and she doesn't know
I
yet.
don't
So
know what
it'll
it
be
is.
like a funny little surprise. So, oh, Wezzy, I just saw you pop onto the screen. So, right at the top, if you want to move your cursor around and mouse around, you can see how
You
this
see
is
me?
in real time. I see you. I'm like chasing you on the screen right now. But
I'm running away from you.
so
There's me, the orange, everybody.
I
There
love
I
it.
am. We are in real-time collaboration
I
mode in
love
here.
it. So let's talk about, you mentioned orange. Let's talk about this template real fast. I went into templates for presentations and I searched biography. So this was just like a fun informational deck. I thought, oh, I like it. It's bright, it's bold, it's visual. And when I start to look at a presentation deck like this, Wezzy, one of the first things I think about is what is visually accessible.
Hmm.
Font choices, color choices, bold text, right? And I'll be honest with you, I have a little bit of an issue with this text right here. I love it, but it might not be the most visually accessible for folks. So you could literally click on it just like you did. And when you click on an element, do you notice your text editor pops up? And folks, if you have never clicked and checked the recommended fonts, check out the recommended fonts. This is one way Adobe Express is providing support in product that literally has them fonts for presentations, something similar, something that might be a little bit more visually accessible. Now, I mentioned I love this. If this isn't the font for you, change the font. Encourage your students to click change the fonts. They, of course, have recommended fonts and then that drop down. And this is a pro tip to be aware of right now, Wezzy. When folks see what is in use, that'll show all of the fonts that are in use on that slide. And you know, last week Martine and I were presenting together and he shared a really cool pro tip. Typically two. Don't have more than two different types of fonts, right?
Yep.
Keep it clean, keep it simple. And that's just like a design and style pro tip to help your content be visually accessible.
Absolutely. Those are really important tips and considerations to have. Is Are folks able to access the content on my page? It might look fun, but what's fun if we don't know what it means or what it's saying because we can't access it? So really important areas of consideration there. Your font choice, the variety of font, the variety of sizes of your font, the placement of your text, all of that matters.
Okay, so we're digging in and we're gonna like slow scroll through this entire thing. We're going to make updates in real time. I love that I see you on the screen. And folks, that's one point to make too. It simply was using the share button. And when you want to share this or collaborate, you can add people or groups. The great thing is you're in your domain, so the emails that share your education domain. You also can determine who has access. You share your link settings, other share and storage collaboration possibilities. But it was as simple as adding Wezzy by her email to get her to be a collaborator in my group. And Wezzy, this page is already set up. you can see I changed, I changed the font size. I rearranged a few things. I might want to move an element or make it, a little bit larger, etc. We added our pictures in here, and these, of course, we leveraged the remove background option in the pictures. Folks have all kinds of media they could add to this. I see you moving content. Yeah, I love it. So look, that even pops a little bit more, right? Oh my God.
I'm adding a heart in your heart
I love it. Let me give you some
because
praise.
I'm in your heart.
Oh, you are always in my heart. I love that. So folks, this is, I hope, helpful to see too that the collaboration possibilities truly are endless. Um, Wazzy, some other fun things I love to point out. Like when you click on an element, I always reinforce for students the editing panel that pops up. If you're on text, the text editor will pop up. If you're on an image, the image editor will pop up. Maybe you want to kind of flip images and play with positioning. Of course, I'm not going to flip this upside down, but I could like be popping in like a uh, what is that? A raccoon? No, a sloth. What?
Oh,
Upside down.
oh my gosh, I was gonna
What's
say
up?
Spider-Man. You're thinking
Wow.
about real animals.
I had a really hard time getting to the word possum. I don't know why.
Possum? Is that what
Oh
they
my
do?
God.
They just kind of pop in.
I think they hang from trees, right? Like
Oh.
if I were coming in like Spider-Man, right?
I
Like,
actually like the upside down entry.
oh
I
my.
think that's pretty cool.
Well, these are just, of course, button clicks to show possibilities. I love that you changed, you added this element, you added an outline to the text.
Hmm.
Let's get deeper into some of this on the next slide because we want to create in real time, and I'll show you what I've designed for my next page. 4 things about Anne. Of course, this was part of the template. I can click in, I can change the colors. I love clicking on the custom button, showing that students have a full color spectrum they can choose from. They also can use an eyedropper tool to do a color match and have that very specific color match. Wazzy, I don't know about you, but I love to nerd out on hex codes. So anytime I have the option to know what the hex code for something is, but you have the different pull from RGB hex codes, etc. You can even change like the transparency settings. But of course, these are just things to be familiar with within the product. I'm going to go back and actually match the orange because I did love how that made it pop out, right?
Yeah, that orange looks good.
4 things about me. What do you notice when you look at this slide?
Okay, so I noticed that you've got some really vibrant pictures that tell the story about you. So my eyes actually go to the images
Okay.
before they go to the words underneath them.
Okay. I love that.
And yes, and also that last image in particular is my personal favorite. It looks very customized, if you will, to
Oh, I
as
love
an
it.
element of Anne. And just for those who might be wondering about this real-time collaboration, so for if students are working on a group project like this, each student can contribute slides. So we don't have to be in the same slide as we're working at the same time. So they can build a cohesive deck together asynchronously or synchronously within the same platform.
Yeah.
So, Anne, what is popping with
Okay,
you and this
what's poppin'?
slide?
What's poppin'? Well, I want to answer Michael Clear's question in the chat too. The font, this font right here, to
Mhm.
find the name of it, simply click on it, and then over here you'll notice the drop down. It is called Flegre Regular. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but I love looking at what is in use. So this is the font right here. Awesome question, Michael. And you said what's poppin'? Well, the
Yeah.
popcorn is poppin', and my powered by shrimp image is poppin'. But 4 quick things about me. These are just text boxes, friends. And these are 2 pictures on the end that were created with the generative AI inside of Adobe Express for Education. And then 2 other photos that I added. So, Wezzy, my fave snack, popcorn, always. That's what's poppin'. Seashells, happy memories of visiting my grandparents. in Sanibel and going to the beach when I was a kid. We don't have a lot of seashells in Southern California, but I am always slow strolling and looking for shells. Joshua Tree is my favorite place on the planet, Joshua Tree National Park in Southern California. And then I love to get powered by shrimp, garlic shrimp, shrimp scampi, popcorn shrimp, barbecue shrimp. But I had to make my friend a little bit magical. And I'm going to click in and just demo this real fast because all these are, as I mentioned, were different media elements I put in the platform, right?
Yep.
So I also want to point out I am using my layers because my pictures are behind the little yellow frames. And the yellow frames are not a full, like, square circle picture. You can see it's literally a frame that I have leveraged the guidelines. I'm going to kind of show you. I can snap it into place. I know that it is centered, but my pictures are actually sitting behind that. So maybe I want to drag and drop them, etc. But when I make sure I click on my generative image, I have that option in my image editor. And here's my prompt. You ready?
Hmm.
Adorable 3D cartoon of a shrimp wearing a magical top hat in front of a rainbow swirly sky. So that's it. Plain and simple, right? My
Nice.
popcorn picture, let me click on the popcorn picture and I click on generate image, red and white striped bucket of popcorn, right? So we can see this example. And what's really cool is I simply clicked duplicate and we duplicated a page for you. And we're going to go in real time and talk about this and reset things. But da 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 da, Wezzy, here's your page.
Here is my page. Okay, so full disclosure, here's how I prepare for my pages. When I start to collect media that I like and I want to use in a different project, I put together my own folder. So I've got my little desktop folder where I can just click on them and replace the images. So what we have here are placeholders on here. So favorite snack. If anybody can guess my favorite snack, you win the best person today award. So
Popcorn, popcorn.
it's that's not I do enjoy popcorn, but that is not my favorite snack. I'm actually going to upload an image of my favorite snack so that you all can see it. Actually, let me just go ahead and replace this one. Um, and Ta-da!
Awesome.
Mango.
Yeah.
I am all about the mango. So what I'm doing, Anne, is I'm actually going into my layer panel because what I noticed was when I tried to click on the images, it's giving me the frame first. So
Yep.
this is where the layer panels come in handy when it's hard to pick up an object that might be sitting behind another one. So I'm using my layer panel to navigate. And so I collect, this is actually difficult for me because I was just like, am I a collector? Do I collect things? And so I actually was thinking about that and just like, well, what do I collect?
Yeah.
And something that came to mind for me was magnets. So I have been doing this thing that where when I travel,
Oh,
I now like to collect a refrigerator magnet of where I've been. Now, I actually haven't been here. This is an outline. Oh, I actually used generative AI to type in an outline of Montana, the state. And
oh,
so I
cool.
haven't been to Montana yet, but
Yeah.
when I go, I will definitely be collecting a Montana refrigerator
Leslie, let me
magnet.
ask you too to do this. Double click because I think part of the image might be cropped
Ooh,
out.
I
So show that
see.
I kind of zoomed in on the screen, that all she's doing is dragging and dropping. And I got this
Yep,
question a lot last week from educators who were doing the creative quilt square and part of
yep,
their quilt. So it's a matter of even double clicking or dragging and dropping those little touch points. Uh,
absolutely. And that is actually something that a lot of folks stumble on by chance. So when you hit the replace button, it's going to replace with the exact frame size as the original image that you're replacing, which means that it might crop your image. And so something else that you can do with your new image, let's say it came in like this and it was chopped a little bit. Now, because of the size of this image, I can actually highlight it and adjust the bounding box. Something else that you can do is click that crop icon and select original.
So they don't see that on yours. Let me go ahead and demo that on my screen.
Sure thing.
So right here, you said double click, right? Hang on, I need to get on the right layer right here.
Yep. So if
This
you click
one,
on that and
double
then
click.
so if you yep, select the object and then you can actually
Bring
bring
this.
in that bounding box. But there's that button above. There it is. Yep.
Yep.
So there's
I just had to change the layer, so actually move
yep.
it to the front.
There it is. So when you select underneath crop on the left side, it's that second tile in that says original. Whenever you click original, it's going to give you the whole image in its original form.
Yeah. What's really cool is also like the corner roundness. I've used that a lot when I'm adding pictures in
Oh,
to a
yeah, I do
slide
like
deck
that.
to have a little bit more of a polished look. And I typically go from 5 to 15 on my corners, just so you know.
5 to 15.
Huh.
Um, I love that.
Okay,
So,
so
okay.
Wezzy, we have learned your
Yes.
favorite snack is mangoes. So I'm going to click in and edit the text. Is it Mangoes, right? Don't we have an E when we
Yes,
say that?
we have an E when we pluralize it.
And of
So we've
course,
got
you can
mangoes.
change the angle if you wanted it to be a little fun, change the size, drag and drop, etc. But I'm just going to go ahead and snap it into place so it's centered. And
Yep.
Wezzy, I'm simply going to click three dots,
Yep.
duplicate.
Duplicate.
Now you have a brand new text box that follows. And I love, love, love when you snap things into place and you know it is aligned and it is
Yes.
so.
Yep. Those lines, those placement lines really, really help with that.
Yep. Okay, what do you love?
All
What
right,
do you love? This is
so
very
I
interactive.
love so many things. It is hard to narrow it down, but something that I really had fun generating an image of is my all-time favorite thing to do. And that is when my family has family get-togethers, and whether there's like a birthday or it's just a cookout or whatever it is. We have so much fun together. So last weekend we had another little mini family reunion, and it's always such a good time. So
Love.
I collected this picture with from AI, just really exemplifying that, and that's what I love. So the word that I'm going to put underneath, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that word. There it is. Gonna rewrite magnets. Oh, actually, maybe Anna might need you to duplicate that one for me. But I am just going to put loves family time.
Oh, I love that.
That is when we are in our element. So
I love.
loves family time.
All right, and surprise, here's your
Look.
own little shrimp. Here's your
You know
little.
what, Anne? I'm gonna keep it. I am going to keep it because who cannot adore this little tiny shrimp, and it's an Ann Cosma shrimp, and I feel like you give all of the powered by vibes. So I'm going to keep
I do have to
it.
talk about powered by, like the things that fuel you. I love the phrase powered by, and it kind of started as just a funny thing with, my fellow creatives and educators that I would work with. And I always said I was powered by shrimp. And it just kind of became a joke over the years, but I always used shrimp as an example. And I have to tell you my prompt for this one. So again, folks, I'm clicking on this image. I click on my image, adorable 3D cartoon of a shrimp surrounded by question marks. It was super simple, but Wezzy, we can update this picture if you want. What else powers you? What are those things that you're passionate about, or what fuels your spirit or your? So I just wrote and shrimp.
And shrimp. I'm gonna put and shrimp. But my backup choice, my now backup choice, was the beach. I get powered by being close to natural water.
Yeah.
So that really calms me. It calms me, but it also powers me. I feel more connected to my environment and to just more grounded. So that's very refueling for me.
So I'm just going to type in and show folks over here in the media. I could literally go and leverage the Adobe stock photo library and do a search for ocean, and then that would pop in and populate pictures. She's, of course, leveraging different options here, but it's as simple as clicking on the element you want to replace, whether it's generating images or leveraging those media options, or even going into elements and searching for that icon or the design assets. Wesi, there's like endless possibilities. So um, I love
Endless possibilities
well,
here.
I love this. From mangoes to magnets to family time to our little shrimp friends, we have just learned four things about Wesi. You saw the four things about Anne. And then, Wesi, I know we have a little bit more time. I want to get deeper into some of this and just kind of round out some ideas. But, like, can we talk for a moment about building communication skills in present?
Yes, we can. And actually, Anne, I've got a little nugget for you
Okay.
too.
Okay.
So if you click on that comment icon on that upper panel right next to the download button.
Oh, she's talking about up here on the screen, folks, and I have my big purple mouse and I'm literally like pointing to the comment element right up here at the top.
Yep.
That comment speech bubble box and Wezi right here. Oh, she added a comment for
I did add a comment. So I added a comment in there. I don't know if you can see it because I know it probably looks small on your end, but it says, "And Cosma, thank you for the shrimp inspo." But as you can see, you can also have real-time commentary in the project. And what's great about the classroom feature in Adobe Express is if you have assigned students an assignment with the classroom feature, you can also be providing them real-time feedback and input in their projects while they're working at it. And I can see your reply from my end, and you said you're welcome, you rock. And I am going to respond.
So while she's responding, folks, I also want to point out this little button right here that says place a pin. This is a really cool feature that allows, for example, if an educator were using this comment feature and they wanted to have very specific, customized, like feedback, you could place a pin and literally, like on the canvas, like on that screen where you're designing, that's where you place your pin. And so let's say, as educator, Wesi is student, I say, Wesi, I love where you're going with this. You need to think about your font choices, your design
Mm-hmm.
choices, or check your spelling here, or develop this area, or any kind of thing. So I love, I love that this is a whole other way not only that kids can collaborate with purpose and meaning, but educators can actually leverage this with purpose and meaning for customized feedback for their community as well. And I think we made a good choice and we made that shrimp proud too.
I think we made the shrimp proud now. And so adding the communication skills in there, it's visible to the teacher, it's visible to the group with whom they're collaborating, but it's also the most important thing is about documenting the learning that's happening, right? So that's actually something that can be a very intentional part of the group project prompting is how are you providing each other with constructive feedback that is enhancing your project.
Yeah.
And what I love to talk to students about is iterating on their projects so they can duplicate slides. Like maybe Anne and I are, kind of feeling like we're at a bit of an impasse with our design choices or our content choices. And so we're just like, you know what? Let's each create our version and then let's come back together to fuse together the best parts of both of our versions. Like you can have those are really, really important skills for students to be able to nurture and develop
Yeah.
those collaborative skills. And so that actually leads into the next piece and that we want to get into, which is student reflection,
Yeah.
their voice and their agency. And so when students are creating, the the goal is how they are learning as they are creating. And so we want our students to be reflecting and thinking about their thinking, that metacognition coming into play as they are producing something new and that might be unique to them, or even if it's something that's more familiar to them. Like, what are the thought? What is the thinking that is going in to the creation that you are
Um,
developing? And so Adobe Express supports the digital portfolios for this, journals and showcases, but we can do this also right in presentations.
yeah.
Students can capture that learning and growth, whether it's through the comments, or maybe they're adding a voiceover, or maybe they're adding an animate character to explain their work once they're done. And what is your favorite go-to for amplifying student voice and reflecting?
I'm just showing like right here, I added another, big text box. I clicked return because there's bullet points. So again, with everything being fully customizable, but you just said something that to me is like, it's my why. And it was empower authentic voice for an authentic audience. And so I love that this could also bring an opportunity to mix media. So we have a presentation deck, but you just talked about something that is a completely transformative possibility, and it is the recording options or the video options that could be embedded into this. And y'all know this record yourself feature is a brilliant, brilliant way to give students a voice or have them come in. So, Wesy, I'm just going to like click that button and show that like I could add myself in here. I could do a recording and be like, hey, this is Anne. Let me tell you, almost narrate or speak aloud, or maybe it's developing oral language fluency or building confidence with your language skills acquisition development. Anything to add voice to it, in my opinion, game changer. But you also just mentioned all of those animated characters, which is
Whoop, whoop.
my jam. I love, love, love these characters. And if we put them on a transparent background, I got to go to my fave,
Eliza.
Eliza.
Eliza, there she is.
This becomes a layer on the slide, right? So that is why this transparent background is such a powerful option, that can then be a media element in a slide deck where student voice comes to life. And Wesy, I have to call out this enhanced speech button. Educators, friends watching, if you have never used this button, toggle it on. It is how to eliminate background noise. It is the answer to the question, how do I have kids record in a noisy room? Wesy, it's right here, right? So that was sort of a longer answer, but for me, it is amplifying authentic voice for an authentic audience, whether that's spoken, whether it's capturing art or dance or movement or text on screen or pictures or generative images. It is that authentic piece. And sometimes the teacher is the audience, sometimes the learning community is the audience, sometimes the world is the audience.
Yes, and I remember in school I was quite a shy student, but I had leadership roles, so it was really difficult for me to be a shy student and be given certain responsibilities where that I would just show up to school sweating. Like it's just like the day's already started and I know I'm gonna have to speak in front of people. And so something that would always work for me is the way that I would plan is I would write, 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 write. But what I was missing was the actual authentic practice of
Yeah,
my voice. And so having a tool like where I can do that video self-record or I can use a character. So I know what my ideas are. I also know what my barriers are to communicating those ideas. And sometimes the barrier is just nerves of
yeah,
people looking at me. So these are ways that I can still practice my voice because ultimately those nerves come from a place of not always feeling fully confident in your voice. And sometimes those nerves are just, they're just a natural part of who we are as folks who understand the gravitas of the work that we're doing. But when it does come from a place of like I haven't quite honed in my craft yet. This is really good practice for students to get into. That once you've produced something, now work on your voice in explaining it and conveying it in a formal way, in a clear way, in a way that the way your speech patterns are really easy for folks to follow. Not because of, not because of how you speak or who, but because you are practicing to speak with fluency,
Yeah.
right? And so that is really a key aspect of presenting and showing your work is knowing how to communicate those ideas. So a tool like this for a student like me would have been an absolute game changer where I could be recording my voice. Oh, that one didn't quite work for me. Let me record again. Because what's
Yeah.
happening is I'm getting my reps in with just hearing myself and being able to speak for myself. And that's what builds confidence over time.
And the characters, Wezzy, too, whether it's using that front-facing camera, the characters, but I've kind of hovered over this picture, the record option, because this also provides off-camera audio support, right?
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
for sharing that perspective too, because it's just another way to further personalize. And, our intention today was not necessarily to like finish the slide deck. Let me go ahead and refresh because I've been messing with the like Zoom and I don't want to make people seasick on the page as I have zoomed in so far, right? Um, this is the ability to take, personalize, customize, make it yours, text-based video, visual supports. This last page, this was from the template. This is the only thing I really changed on this slide, except for a few of the text boxes. But this, of course, launched that image generator. And Wezi, the power of combining visual, the power of combining text, the power of combining media, I think that to me is how not only student voice agency in the design process, but the other things we talked about, right? Like the collaboration, the real world aspects, the assets of creative storytelling and idea organization. It's how it all comes together, right? Like
Absolutely.
it just all comes
Absolutely.
together that way. And um, it's also the hard fun in all of it as students are creating something which transforms engagement, retention of information, the emotional investment in the work that they're doing, and often makes the learning a lot more sticky, right? So, my principal, my former principal used to always call it disguised learning and hard fun. Anytime.
Disguised learning and
Yeah.
hard fun. Absolutely. And we have students with all who come from all kinds of angles when it comes to making their thinking visible and reflecting their work
Yeah.
experience, right? I think of one student I had in particular who was such a dynamic presenter. And his work was always scattered and all over the place. And so for that student, the presentation is solid. Like he would have gone straight to the video self-record and like absolutely rocked it. And then the presentation after. So the templates are something that would support a student like him in organizing those ideas and knowing what to present. And then you've got your students who are the opposite, right? Like me, who would just like, I'll have all my pieces together, but that last piece of standing in front of folks or presenting my work,
Yeah.
that's the key. So we're covering all bases in that and supporting students from their ideas to the visual storytelling and everything in between.
Can I
And
point
so we
out
hope that,
one
yeah.
button we haven't even talked about?
Ooh,
This translate
the
button at the
translate
top.
button.
This is so powerful because if educators were creating and hey, meet the teacher or welcome back to school or these are our school, like this is our school dynamic, this is our school community and culture, but you want to access like and make it accessible to folks in other languages, literally toggle through. There are dozens and dozens of so like we have friends who are here from Poland. I'm going to go ahead and choose Polish, and I'm also going to choose Haitian Creole. I know that a lot of educators in Florida are very interested in having Haitian
That's
Creole as a
right.
translated.
Suck up, Fip.
Yep. So this literally will take and start something new. We're going to see a ton of slides get added into this. But literally, we go from an English version into a Polish version. I love this. And then we go into that Haitian Creole version, and you can see how dynamic it is. So, our friends from Poland in the chat, let's take a peek at this. Let us know how that happened. So, I saw Que Bueno in the chat also. We could have thrown like Spanish into it too. What a beautiful way to make the content accessible for others across different languages.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, Wesley, we're coming close on time, and I want to share a tiny bit more information. All right.
Ooh, what do you want to
Friends,
share, Anne?
from that home screen, we need to call out the activities and the Learn tab. If you've never clicked on them, click on them. But I want to point out under this Learn tab, we have brand new educator collections. These are dynamic collections from educators for educators. So our friend Tim Needles, Jessica Pack, Donnie Piercy, Camille Strode, and Dr. Q, right? Like so many brilliant teacher collections from their classrooms to your classrooms. And stay tuned. Wink, wink. Stay tuned to this space. You might just see some more getting added before too long.
That's right. And one thing that is the beauty of what you're seeing within the Adobe Express activities is that they are from folks in the field, in the trenches, trying these out,
Yeah.
working with students to support and empower the next generation of lifelong creators. And so we
Yep.
love to see it.
Yep.
So definitely explore those educated collections, definitely explore those standards aligned activities.
Yep.
Definitely go in and just click all the buttons, right? And go
Click all
click
the buttons.
all the buttons.
And the last
Um,
thing we want to leave folks with is definitely check out the new
yes.
edu.adobe.com homepage. You'll find resources, upcoming programming, a community forum where ideas, insights, best practices are being shared with and from the community. But Wesley, how fun to be able to go in and actually share and showcase how much fun learning can be with presentations inside of Adobe
Always,
Express.
always. This is so fun to get to share this because, it's unfortunate that for a lot of us, when we were younger and we were in schools, getting to do this type of creative work was a treat,
Yeah.
or was exclusive. And so the benefit is that it doesn't have to be that students have access to this for all of their learning needs,
Yep.
in the classroom. Teachers have access to it to really enhance their teaching and learning materials. And what I've dropped in the chat is also the link to our Adobe Ace Leader community, as you mentioned, Anne. So those of you, if you're not part of the Adobe Creative Educator community yet, there is a link for that. And you can subscribe to the YouTube and continue getting great learning and upcoming live streams with us and Adobe for Education. And there is the link to do so. Thank you so, so much for joining us. Thank you for your engagement in the chat. We love to see you here. This is a great community space, and as we are time benders,
Yep.
Joanna, we are time benders in this space. So thank you for all of the time zones that you've tuned in from, and we are so glad that you are able to join us. Till next time, folks.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.